How much do you think we have line of credit before we even started buying our houses? How much? Give us a guess, Ross. Together, how much we would have?
30, 40K?
We had $200,000.
Woo!
Yes, sir.
Talk me through that process. Like, how did you guys manage to get that much line of credit?
The show is called Golden Nuggets, so might as well talk. So what happens is whenever you're trying to get a line of credit from a bank, what the bank does is it checks your credit reports and whatnots and everything, right?
Welcome to the Golden Nuggets of Real Estate Investing, a podcast dedicated to helping you achieve financial freedom through real estate. We'll be discussing the most important lessons, or better known as the Golden Nuggets of Real Estate Investing, entrepreneurship, and personal finance with new and experienced investors to help you get into real estate investing or scale up your portfolio. So make sure to tune in.
What's going on, everyone? It's Ross Nadai, host of the Golden Nuggets podcast. Welcome to episode 6. I have another jam-packed episode full of Golden Nuggets for you. I had the pleasure of sitting down with two incredible brothers, Ishan and Sid, who immigrated to Canada as international students and changed their paycheck-to-paycheck North American lifestyle to becoming serious real estate investors. We had so much to talk about that I've decided to divide this episode into 2 parts. In part 1, you'll learn how to overcome the barriers of networking, what criteria to use to analyze deals to overcome analysis paralysis, how to buy your first property as an international student or new immigrant, and last but not least, the secret to getting the maximum line of credit you can qualify for. If you like this podcast and have gotten any sort of value, please help me reach as many eyes and ears as possible by following my Instagram page and sharing this podcast all over social media. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, leave me a comment, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on the most recent episodes. Thank you so much for your support. Please enjoy episode 6, part 1 with Ishan and Sid. What's going on, everyone? Today I have a couple of special guests today. I got Ishan and I got Sid, who are investors from Cambridge and also invest in Windsor. So we're going to talk all about their real estate journey, how they got into real estate investing, how real estate has impacted their lives. So without further ado, we'll leave the floor to you guys. So go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you guys got introduced to real estate investing and where you are right now.
Yeah, so we came to Canada in 2014 to pursue our master's in computer science. And then since then, the journey has been quite amazing, working in IT corporate jobs for past 5 to 6 years now. And last 5 to 6 years, life is good. Everything's working smoothly until I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and started networking with people. Things started changing drastically. And then here we are into real estate's realm. So I started looking forward in real estate investing in 2019, I would say.
Yeah, once we came back from Europe.
Yeah,
September 2019.
September 2019-ish. And since then, we've just took our pedal on accelerator mode. And then, right, we started networking with people, getting to know people. And then after a little bit of analysis paralysis, we finally bought our first property. Our first property was in April
2020.
April 2020.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was not long ago.
Yeah. It's pretty, it's like 7-8 months back, right? So, yeah. So we got our first property in Windsor. My goal was to cash flow and house hack. So I bought this deal, and it was tough to get into the market because the market was going in an upward trend that time. And then we were getting outbid by the other Toronto buyers with a lot of big money and whatnot. So we decided to take an approach of wholesaling. We were pretty new to this concept. All we knew was you got to network with people, show up, be out there, and something just might work. So I had gone to India in March, like early March. I came back and my brother was bidding like haywire here, there on the properties. And they were asking.
I still remember the first property I bid on was like, it was listed for 300. I bid 430. It sold for 450. I was like, what the hell? And that was my first bid. I was like,
wow,
so nervous bidding like 130K over asking, you know.
So we kind of knew the idea of the market, how much is the price going for, what is the quality of the house, what can we do out of it. Then there was a property on wholesale. And then we were like, okay, this is gold right now. We got to hop on this train. And then by that time, the wholesaler also understood like the price is a little less. So he made it jacked up the wholesale fees. but the property was so good, it made worth like taking the ride with that, even at the price which was asking and whatnot. So we didn't even see the property. We just saw the video. We just did our math. We did our prior homework. We got the property 30K equity on the buy. We got it for 383. And if the realtor was listing it that time, he would have listed for 425. So it was like a good chunk on the equity, right? So that's how we got our first property.
So we bought our second property, which was under my name, which is like my primary. So we bought like a legal secondary dwelling unit in the best area of Cambridge. So literally like houses around here like start from 700, 800, 900, and they go up to like couple millions easy. Like they are literally mansions around in the neighborhood, and our house is like the tiniest house in the neighborhood. And that is also one of the strategies where you buy the smallest house in the posh neighborhood and then you just bag on the appreciation.
Correct.
So we got like a legal secondary dwelling unit where it's 2-bedroom unit on top where we are staying currently. And then there's a studio unit in the basement, which we renovated, and we're running Airbnb in that.
Nice.
Which is an amazing model, to be honest.
Correct. The ways to cash flow in a market where appreciation dominates the cash flow strategy. How can you cash flow in that strategy is to like just try short-term rentals and run it as a business. So we did that. And then March, like April 1st, March, May, April, May, then September, we closed on another property, student rental in University of Windsor nearby. We got that one on a decent deal. So we closed on that. We're running the student rental model over there because we are the students of Windsor. So we know the market, how it works, what's the price range for the rent. So it cash flows real good. And then after that, we actually closed on our first JV. The closing was today, actually. So
congrats, guys.
Happy about it. It's a duplex. We signed the contract a year back by the sellers, and then we closed on it after a year. So we have already made a ton of equity, and with the appreciation of Windsor, it's like added as a boost. Now my partner just plugs the money, and it's a good burn on prospects.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys touched on a lot of great stuff. So just to recap, like you were saying, like, so basically what introduced you to the whole concept of real estate, right? It was basically you said Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? So you both started working in a corporate job, right? Like many of us all inspired to get to the point where we eventually retire, right? And you want to do like eventually real estate or passive income, right? That's the goal, right? So like, I guess there's one thing reading a book, right? And then there's another thing taking action, right? So what kind of research or what kind of homework did you do on your end to say, you know what, this makes sense. I need to find out more. You mentioned you kind of network. So if you don't mind, just kind of break down a little bit into step-by-step, kind of like how would somebody that's in your shoes, somebody starting out, will get to where you guys are today, for instance, right? Because it sounds like you guys are accelerating a fantastic, rate, which is great, but it's like, how does one even get to that?
So I would like to say that it's a very good question. Like for the person who's starting, there is something called fear of missing out when you see others doing this amazing deals and you're like, am I doing something wrong or am I doing anything in the first place? So what I would like to suggest these people is go put yourself out there, show up to any events, virtual events, live events, paid events, free events. Once your face becomes familiar to the people, gradually you come into their like an aura of like everybody, and then you know what this guy is doing, what that guy is doing, what you should have done, what your thought process was going. Maybe I missed this one, next one I'm going to catch before the train leaves the gravy station. Now I'm at least confident. But it's just like a practice of going out, meeting with people. We can right now in COVID, but still like networking, virtual events. And the best part is like talk to that person, not just during the event, after the event. Follow up with this person, share your journey, put yourself out there, and then you get to know about them. And then things get very easy. You would not know, but actually the obstacles which you are going through, that guy was also going through or is going through. Exactly. So he once resonates you on that terms, then it's very easy. I'm telling you, it doesn't. It sounds tough, but pretty easy from there.
To be honest, like everyone has their own model, so you have to understand like what this luxury student rental guy is doing, what this house hacking guy is doing, what the flipper is doing, what the bird model is doing, how are these people buying so many multi-units, what the short-term rental model is. So once you have a good idea, once you talk to these people and have a good idea of these models, when you see a deal, you can understand quickly which model is the best for this deal, and does it even make sense in terms of number. And when you have these connections, the best part about real estate investing is our community is so amazing. Like it's all about giving and helping people, because it's just amazing. Like I have never seen a community like this, like who wants me to succeed more than even I do. It's like
exactly. And I think that's the biggest struggle with a lot of folks have. You're absolutely right. I mean, your network is, truly your net worth, right? But it's just like, I feel like a lot of folks, everybody's personality is different, but I'm sure you guys hear this often. A lot of people feel they're introverts. So it's a little bit uncomfortable for them to even get that leap of faith to say, you know what, if I want to message Ross, or I want to message Ishan, what kind of value do I have to give to that person, right? They automatically think that. It's kind of like they block themselves from even reaching out to the person to even start a conversation, right? So what kind of advice would you give to somebody like that? Well, did you guys face that kind of roadblock mentally before you guys took that leap of faith? Would you consider yourselves an introverts, or you guys are the extrovert here?
we were introverts, but I don't think we are anymore, to be honest.
I would consider myself a little introvert when I came new to this country.
Right.
But a little bit, because in my instinct, I was all guns blazing extrovert back in India also. I lived in multiple cities where every state has its own language. So I had to learn the language or try to do hand gestures to just communicate. I want this bottle of water. How much will you charge and whatnot? So I was being very open, like, because our parents sent us out of our home for education after a 10th grade. So that's pretty young in India, where people stay with family after they have their baby also. So it was a wonderful learning experience. But either way, is like when you come to a new country, it's like it's a little intimidating in your mind. Oh wow, first world country, amazing, this and that and whatnot. So it can be a little daunting initially. But what I would like to say, when you're trying to approach a big person in real estate, never ask for anything first, because he has 1,000 people on his inbox just trying to leech some value. So if you're trying to only leech value, how is that person going to connect with you? Like, for example, I'll tell you, like, initially when I was trying to connect with Matt McKeever, right? So I can't go and ask him like I'm new to this or whatnot, because I've seen his videos where he's saying I charge $400 for a call for an hour. But make sure you know what questions to ask. So I'm like, what do I do from here? Like, even if I have the money, I don't know what to do. So what I do is I start to look up his videos. And then if there's some sort of value, like, hey, your YouTube link is not posted properly, maybe you'd like to check on that. So that separates me out of those 1,000 people who are just trying to gauge value. It can be the slightest thing, like a YouTube link would not coming properly or anything, like simple things. So I'm trying to give value to that person who's a multi-million-dollar, but he's like, okay, who are you? You're helping me instead of asking me. So that gets connection set up. From there, once you go to meetup, introduce yourself, show your journey, document your journey, hard work will show its colors, man. You just got to go out there, do stuff. But if you do just to expect something, expectation is the root cause of all misery. That's what my dad taught me. So just do willfully, and then the whole ocean will open up for you. That's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we had our office from 9 to 5, and after 5 this guy would take me Burlington, London, and then on the weekends we would go to Windsor, and we have to come back. And we were at that point we were living in downtown Toronto, and we were working in Heartland, Mississauga. So we are already driving an hour. So by the time we are done with the meetup, we are coming home, it's already 12. Go to bed 6 o'clock, get up, get ready, hit the gym, and go to work back. So yeah, man, it's just like you got to be out there. Like people need to know that you're out there, because there are a million people who'll ask for your help. But you want to help the people who want to help themselves. So if you're out there, they know you're serious, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's so good on you guys, right? Because it's here's the thing, right? It's like you have to figure out what is it that you really want, right? In this case, from what I'm understanding is you guys figured out, you know what, I can go through this, 9 to 5 job, corporate world, but it's not going to get me where I want to be in terms of, I'm seeking financial freedom. I want, to have multiple properties. I want to leave a legacy behind. Whatever your why is,
Yes.
if you don't want it like really badly, you're not going to work for it. It's as simple as that. Like a lot of folks kind of go to your example, they go work 9 to 5, 5 o'clock hits, they close the laptop, they put on the TV, just chill on the couch and watch Netflix,
Pretty much.
which is fine, right? You have to have balance in life, which is fine. But then you're going to have other people like yourselves, right, who is grinding constantly. You're like, listen, you know what, instead of me watching TV, I'm going to go connect with somebody. I'm going to go to a meetup. I'm going to go see somebody. I'm going to go check out some houses. I'm going to go my weekends, drive around the city, get to know the area, get to know the realtors, right? So it takes work. It's not going to come in your hand. Like the universe, you have to move for things to happen. You know what I mean? Like it's just, you have to have right expectations. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe we don't have a Netflix account since 2 years.
There you go.
We thought of buying an account just because we started Airbnb.
Yeah.
And we haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
To be honest,
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Like I said, balance is key. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, watching TV here and there, but you just have to figure out what is it you want and how badly you want it, right? So for you to accelerate that rate, you have to put yourself up there, to example. Yeah. I know COVID is kind of hitting everything. There's no like in-person meetings, but there's a lot of virtual events. There's a lot of things still going on. Even Facebook groups. I notice there's a lot of Facebook community groups. You can throw questions, you can connect with investors and learn the book, podcasts. Like it's unlimited. You have so much resource. It's just unlimited.
Yeah, if you ask these gurus from back in the day, they didn't know nothing. They don't have any way of communicating. Like they had to literally go all the way, drive 4 hours, and there's not even a fucking meetup. You try to find the guy and then gauge knowledge.
Knock on the door.
One guy, you can't even like network with so many people. It was so tough back in the day for these guys.
Yeah,
and these guys did it. Like it should be easy as pie for us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But only who needs it that bad or who wants it that bad gets it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, exactly. I would like to touch on this point. So back in the day, while we were growing up, we were like super rich in the sense 3 to 4 cars below our house. For birthdays, we are getting not 1 PS, like 3-4 PlayStations. Back in the day, we were like kind of millionaires when we were like little kids. But unfortunately, we didn't know how to blow money at that time. So it was a different story. So from there, by growing up, we went super broke, where Diwali is our auspicious occasion, like Christmas. And on Christmas, forget about, like, imagine you being on Christmas, forget about you having the money to give people. You don't even have money to eat food. At one point, that was our situation, where we don't even have money on Diwali, this auspicious occasion. Forget about bursting crackers. We don't even have money to eat food. From there, life has been so challenging. And then after 10th grade, we were sent away from home to study. So we are always on the hustle, the grind, putting ourselves out there, like learning new things. There is no living in your tiny cocoon and being comfortable. So that has put us in a zone where, to be honest, if we don't feel like there is something pushing us, there is a goal bigger than me or bigger than us, we suddenly feel like, what the fuck is going on, man? How long have I sat on this couch? Like 2 years or something now? Like what's our next goal? Like, to be honest, we didn't have money to study. Our cousins paid for our education because our dad, when he was rich, he took care of everyone's education, like in the whole family and relatives and everything. So these guys paid for our education. After that, we wanted to come to Canada. We didn't have money for that. We had to put our only one house that our mom had. We had to put that against the student loan. And then somehow we got some student loan. So Ishan came, I came here. Yeah. Then the goal is, okay, study hard, get a good job, live the Indian dream, of going abroad, getting an amazing job, get married, have a baby. So just relax, just like live life smoothly. Then we're like exploring real estate. That is like, please be safe, don't do this, don't do that. The fatherly feeling. I mean, like we did our education and then we got our jobs, and then we're just like, okay, our first goal is to pay our student loan, which is like 40 grand. That's not an easy amount. And then we pay that off, and then life is like, okay, this was it. Like
this is pretty much it, right?
Like this is it. Like there's no more challenges after this. Like we were chilling for like good half a year, 1 year, and we are like, what the fuck, man? It feels so different. We've been on the hustle 24/7, and suddenly we don't have a goal bigger than ourselves, and it feels so weird.
Yeah.
And then Ishan explored the avenue of real estate, financial freedom, fire.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys touched on some great things there. So it sounds like, because of the, the hardship that you guys went through, that's where you got the hustle and bustle, it sounds like, right? Because you were forced into situations where it was like survival of the fittest, right? You were like, listen, this is not the lifestyle I want.
Those challenges have set us up for success. And then like little challenges don't feel like a challenge anymore. Like going out to meetups, networking, it's like, that's nothing.
And then I know, especially for individuals coming first to the country, like you said, it's an unknown territory. You come to city. Speak to me a little bit about that. I mean, like I know you said you got into real estate investing, but before that, I mean, what was your main community? Basically, just like the students around. I guess you guys went to Windsor, or which school was it?
University of Windsor.
Yes. So we went to University of Windsor. The first 1 year was like just chilling out with a couple group of people, and that's pretty much it. Cook at home, save money, work some part-time job, go to the farmhouse, pack some tomatoes, make your money so that you can pay the rent, blah blah blah, initial stuff. Then 1 year goes by. I was not like getting the money to stay in the student residence, so I was missing that fun of those people doing activities and whatnot. But then gradually after 1 year, I started realizing I try to throw myself in uncomfortable situations because I know some or the other way I'm going to adapt and thrive out of it. So from first year to just being confined and eating that nice home cooked meal with my friends and everyone, to just like going away and exploring different avenues and whatnots, meeting with other people. And then we got job in Toronto because Windsor does not have software jobs. So that's why anybody watching this video, you're from Windsor and you're looking to explore IT space, please leave Windsor the day you finish your education. Please, just go on someone's couch, sleep over. That's what I did. I just spent a month or two initially at someone's place in the couch and got a job, and then things started flowing gradually, meeting people in Toronto.
And then after a few months, I had an internship. I came to Toronto. I remember still getting the first paycheck. And then because we never got to really explore or enjoy the North American culture, you would see both of us go crazy every weekend. Like in Toronto, payday, no payday, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it was fun time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Humble beginnings, I would say.
For sure. Now, if you guys were looking back and you mentioned you guys both had basically a debt of $40,000, and which is pretty common for students graduating. Like because I went through the same thing, right? I also graduated, and the first thing I wanted to do is, because the way we're brought up, again, we don't have the financial literacy to understand that there is such thing as good debt, right? You always think of debt as you have to get rid of this tomorrow, right? So I was also the same type of person that I had that back of my mind when I was going to university, right? I was working part-time. I was saving literally every penny I could with the hope that when I graduate, I can just pay it right off. And then that's exactly what I did. Now looking back, I'm like, oh my goodness. And I just put that money, could have bought like 2 properties in Mississauga, would have quadrupled by now. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Back in the day, it was 5% down. That's all you had to put, It's insane. 2013.
Same boat.
Yeah, right. So it's like, for those that are listening in and they have the the idea that they want to do investment or they want to put their money elsewhere, honestly, the 5% or whatever you pay for OSAP is free money. Like if you can quadruple that in other avenues, definitely do it, because there, like we said, there's good debt and there's bad debt. So like owning an asset where it's you have a mortgage on it but it's producing income is a good debt. You want that. You want many of those, because eventually it will pay itself off and you're making money on top of it.
Correct.
To be honest, like many people are scared of investing because they think of investing like, oh, I have to get this house and then it's a burden on me. I have to pay my mortgage. What if I cannot pay my mortgage? How do I even go to vacations anymore? And it's not close to convenient to my work. I tell so many people, buy a cash flowing student rental and house hack the hell out of it. You don't even have to stay there. I mean, it's a little gray zone. It's a little risky, but See, if you have like 40 grand student debt, if you pay it off right now, it all depends on how much stress you can take. I think like if you're in the IT job, I think that's not a big deal, because the best part is when you have 40 grand loan, it's not on your credit report here. It's back home. So it doesn't affect your borrowing capacity here. So let it sit there.
Yes.
Let them put high interest on it.
Yes.
Right.
Buy an asset here. In
Right.
2 years, how the market is going, you would sell that property and you can just pay off that loan one shot, and at least you have your down payment here, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the
And-
power
And
of
you get
leveraging
some
money.
cash flow.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So you guys talked about the first property you bought. Now, what strategy did you guys use? Was that is that a buy and hold, or was that a flip, or how did you guys start off with, and what did you do with the first?
So we didn't even have like 5% down initially to get started with, but we had a lot of education, right? So I would suggest first, guys, if you're planning to buy a property, go to every bank and get lines of credits. LOC. Please get lines of credit. And I'm not getting sponsored by National Bank here, but if you are an accountant, a CPA, or an engineer, or have a degree of engineering from back home, they give you a line of credit for prime plus 0.25. Prime currently is 2%. 0.25, that's like not even 3%. Like that's pennies for $50,000. You got to pay like 3%, whatever that is, $1,500, right?
Over the
that's
span of a year. So that's
$125, $113 every month for getting $50,000. Go to the casino and blow it out. Joking. No, don't do that. just take that money and keep it with you as a safeguard, as a wall behind. So if shit goes south, you don't have to worry. Take 5% down, borrow from your friend, ask him as a gift letter, and tell him I'll pay you back. Just go buy a property. Now, what do you buy is the first question.
Right.
Buy a house where the mortgage plus added expenses, a monthly, plus some buffer cushion, everything is paid out, and you get a couple $100. Don't be too greedy. Just a couple $100 is good enough. Like just go and invest that. That's what I did. I just went with an intention, multiple rooms. I just want cash flow, because that's how any investor would start cash flowing, right? Because if you can do BRRRR, I know people like to do BRRRR, but if you don't have any money, how can you do a BRRRR? Like you don't have any money in the first place, right? So
you gotta get your foot in,
yeah,
and bag some of the appreciation if you don't have money, or find partners
steadily. Yeah. So we got our 5% down. I didn't even have 5% down. Somehow I managed, got this house. There were 6 rooms in the house. So even if one room rented for 600, I get 3,600 from 6 rooms. There was a den area. I made that into a room. Now that's officially my room, and I'm primary residence of that place. So I rented the 6 other rooms. So that is my room. I live in that house. So I'm house hacking with the 6 rooms giving me $3,600 of revenue. If not that, $3,000 of revenue instead of 3,600. Like suppose one room is not rented. I get a mortgage of $400,000 house at like mortgage of $1,600 to $1,700 every month. I have $1,000 every month going in my pocket, and a cup I get to stay for free. Like that's ridiculous. Like why not do that is the first question. Like beg money from someone and find a property, do your homework, and just try it out, give it a taste. Like if you don't taste the meal, you don't even know how good it is or how bad. Just give it a shot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's how I got started.
And that's probably the safest bet you can play, jumping in your first property, right? So you always got to make sure that it's a comfortable play, so that you can buy more. You don't want to be like, oh, this house is shiny, the glass is good, it looks beautiful, even if it's outside my budget, I'll take it. And then you're just sitting on a property hoping it appreciates. If you bought in a market which appreciates, and the market, like the wind is in the same direction, you're good. But if not, you're just stuck with the property for 3-4 years, and that's it. That's your whole portfolio.
For sure. You have to be smart, right? You have to do your research. You have to know the markets, right? So a prime example is, how it is in Toronto currently. Like we're talking about townhouses are almost hitting $1 million, right? If you purchase something for $1 million, just imagine how much you're going to be paying out of your pocket. That's a liability. That's not an asset.
And you also got to think, like, what if you lose your job?
Yes, you got to think of the worst scenarios. You're banking on a specific income to pay for the rest of that property, right? So
it would be smart to, first of all, get into the investment, get a property, buy something that's under the budget, right? So this is a common thing that I speak with mortgage agents is they walk into a bank and they ask for a loan or a pre-approval, and they say, you know what, you're pre-approved to 500,000. The first thing that they do is they go and buy properties for 500,000. The first thing that they do.
Wonderful point. Wonderful point. Please go ahead. What you're saying is very wonderful. Where you're trying to get at next.
Yeah, it's like, don't rush into that, right? It's totally fine that, yeah, it's great that you have this much amount of money that you can use, but be smart about it. You can go somewhere else, buy 2 properties, live in one, rent the other one, and guess what? You have now 2 assets that are building you equity. Over time, as you guys were saying, if the market appreciation takes place, guess what? And in a year, even if you don't want to refinance it, you can pull what's called a home line of credit. As you're pointing out earlier, this is a secured line of credit. So what that does is it gives you 80% of value. So say you purchase something for $300,000 and it goes to 400 the next year, that's not $80,000 extra you're gonna be able to pocket from a line of credit. Again, a rate of like 3% right now, which is unbelievably cheap.
Yeah.
And you leverage that again, and as you can use that as down payment, go get another property. And that's how people have been doing. Like that's how you build your portfolio. So you got to start somewhere. And I think to your point, a lot of folks get really confused. Okay, what do I go get a single family? Do I get a townhouse? Do I get a condo? I think single family is probably the safest bet to start off with. To test the water, test the market, like you guys were saying. So you guys started with Windsor. I mean, Windsor, again, it's still a hot market, but there's so many other areas and other markets around us that the ripple effect is taking, right? So they're going up, they're appreciating. But again, you look at the market fundamentals. Appreciation is fantastic. Think of it as a cherry on top. It's going to be something you got to bank on.
Absolutely.
Like, just think of an idea where you're buying a business. And I'm selling you a business right here. And I'm telling you, this doesn't make this business doesn't bring anything every month. Like, doesn't bring in any money
income
every month. And I tell you, like, hold it for 3 years, and when you sell it, you'll be rich. Will you buy that business? You tell me. That's pretty much you buying a property without cash flow. It just doesn't make sense. Like how you mentioned, buy something which is easy for you to buy. It should be not as tough as doing a car purchase. Like, how many times do you purchase a car? Not so often, right? So it's a big purchase. Don't make it like that. Buy something in your capacity. It should be like, okay, I went to Tim Hortons, I bought a coffee. but not that easy. But you kind of understand my idea, right? As long as the numbers work and it's easy on cash flow. Like today, if I lose my job, I don't have to worry.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay any mortgage. All my properties are self-sustaining. In fact, they give me some money every month. So
I get paid. I sometimes think, should I quit my job and get that $1,000 a month and just stay at my house? Like, I'm getting $1,000 to just stay at my house for doing nothing.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it, right? Like you said, it pays itself off. You have individuals paying your mortgage, and it's building equity, and it's appreciating. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with going with something like that. So I know that the biggest obstacle is another thing is analysis paralysis, which you guys touched on a lot, right? So we tend to sit there and we tend to overcomplicate some of the matters. You do need to understand the fundamentals. So you do need to count. I always like to take into account vacancy, right? Holding costs is another big one, especially because when you purchase a property and if it's previously tenanted, if you keep the tenants, great. But often than not, a lot of folks don't, right? There's a tenant turnover, or you need to get them out of there so you can renovate the property, right? So then keep that in mind. You still got water, you still got hydro, you still got gas, and on top of it, you're going to be paying property taxes. So you got to have all that little buffer, like you were saying, readily available into your built-in costs. So if I repair this, it's going to be this much at the end of the day. But does it make sense? Does it leave me a margin of a profit or cash flow or something along those lines, right? Do you guys calculate all that in your properties as well?
Definitely.
We have like a Excel formulated with everything. Like we take this Excel from all these gurus and big people who have built this empire based on. Now, if he's done it right way, I'm just going to follow it instead of just start creating my own like savvy thing, right?
We tweak it a little bit here and there. So we usually like to consider 5% capex, which is like big expenses, roof, HVAC, air conditioner, just anything which is huge in expense. And then 5% small repair. That's like your tap isn't working, your flush stopped working kind of thing, just small repairs. And then we consider 3% as vacancy. And just to round it about, sometimes we add another 7% as property management. So we just cut out 20% of the rents.
Correct. So now, once you have cut out the 20% of the rents, like the 20% for just do these activities, along with that, like property tax, internet bill, you have taken out all the issues that can happen. Just go ham and crazy and aggressive on cutting these issues out. And then whatever the cash flow you get, that is the real number. I would like to share the story. When I was just getting started, my person who was mentoring me, he told me, you're not going to do property management, but add that. Add that always. Add these expense. In the long run, you will thank me. And I still thank him for all these ideas, which I've learned from him, and all these Excel analysis and whatnots I've done. So yeah.
For sure. And it's always good to have a little bit of buffer, like you're saying. But property management, a lot of folks tend to invest, and they want to manage themselves, which is great because it's literally our baby. We want to make sure we get the right tenants in, we take care of it. But life takes different courses. What happens tomorrow if you need to move? You need to go somewhere. You need someone to be able to look after the property. So for you, buffering and having that little cushion in there, you can play that part and you be comfortable, paying somebody to manage it. So I that's absolutely critical.
Absolutely. Because before, like when we just started off, we were so hungry. We were ready to do property management. You do everything. You were like, I would go and fix the whole house also if I needed to.
Yeah.
But right now, like we have come to 4 properties, 6 units. I don't want to do property management anymore. Like I don't even care if it cash flows or not, as long as I don't have to pay anything out of the pocket.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And then that's the thing. You have to have true cash flow numbers, right? So it's another easy common mistake people do is they tweak the numbers and they give themselves the wrong numbers. So, oh, you know what? I don't need 10% capex. House is brand new. Roof is not going to break. It's good for 10 years. That's going to be 0%. Oh, I'm going to property manage. Oh, that's going to be 0%. Oh, wow, this property cash flow is $1,000. Well, obviously, because you're not calculating the rest of the stuff, right? So you have to have a true cash flow, right? And that's critical. Like, I don't understand why. Again, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but it's critical. Like I sit there, I go through MLS listings. I primarily have always bought on MLS because I'm a realtor, but I go through like a lot of through probably 10 properties a day. I kid you not, right? Because it's like it looks good, but then you gotta find out what are the rents, right? When was the last time it was renovated? What's the market comparables in the area, right? How much is it going to be? How much are the repairs going to cost me? So once you calculate all that, the more you do it, the better you get. So practice makes perfect. So for individuals, I highly advise just literally sit there. There's a lot of cash flow calculators and so forth.
Oh my God, so many.
Just practice.
Pretend you're buying it tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. I would like to touch upon the point of analysis paralysis. Like we listen to all these gurus and they're like, I pulled off a full burr and I did like a flip with like 60 grand profit. And we're just looking at deals and we never find those deals. We are like, how does this even work? And then slowly you get into analysis paralysis phase. And then you're like, slowly, unconsciously, you're tweaking the numbers a bit to make it look attractive.
Yeah.
But I think like, what you got to do is you got to stay on the pulse of the market so that you know what is a good deal. And most importantly, when you see a bad deal, you know this is something I would definitely want to stay away from.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for you guys, so you mentioned the first one was I guess it was a student rental. What was the second one? And how did you guys get to these deals? And you mentioned one of them was a wholesale, or was it all on the market?
First one was a wholesale. We were trying to get in the student rental near university. Now, the issue with student rental in university, the bank does not finance at 5% down. The insurance broker will come really hard. He'll not give you insurance. So we tweaked the strategy. We thought like, okay, everybody is going behind that beautiful girl. Let me find a decent girl. So what I did, I went to St. Clair College, which is something that's coming up. Students are coming in from India and China and whatsoever. But the neighborhood around that college is remarkably good. It's got one of the best schools of Ontario over there. So we were like, let me buy a house over there. So we just bought a house over there. The insurance does not have a problem. We got it under market, no issues. Now, same scenario if I'd gone to University of Windsor, shitty kind of property, shitty tenants, and then issues with insurance because I got to get 1.5% down. Bidding. There's so many things to deal with. So just look for something where everyone is not running, because there are chances, it's tough, you would get it right. So that's what we did with the first one. And then the second one, our strategy was,
I think this is the first property and the only property we bought off of MLS. So this property went on market just for 24 hours. There was this Indian couple who was separating. So 6 p.m. So once Ishan has signed the documents for his first property, we were on the hunt for the second one, even though we didn't have no money. So my agent calls me this evening, 6 o'clock during COVID, and he's like, okay, buddy, I think you're going to like this. You got to come here right now. 7:30, we are here from downtown to Cambridge. We check out this property, beautiful. It's outdated, but nothing that we can't take on. And then we go and check out the basement height, and it's 8-foot ceiling. I'm like, whoa, this is real struck gold, because this is 8-foot ceiling. And then we get to know it's a legal secondary suite. I'm like, bro, we need to get this. Yeah. So we decided what number we're gonna put. We were roughly around 415, 420. That's what we are thinking, like low ball, get a good deal. That was in our mind. And then
how much was it listed for?
Is listed for 380 or 350, either of the one. I'm not sure.
But the list price does not have any consequence on the sale price.
Fake list price.
For sure.
These were getting listed for 430.
Getting sold for 430
in Cambridge.
Right.
Like in
semi-duplex.
2020 April-ish. So we are like, if you can bid somewhere around that and get it for that price, that would be awesome, right?
So we wake up in the morning, we were at 4:15, and in half an hour, we're like, oh, brother, we need this house. We want it real bad. So we jumped to 442, which is kind of fair market value for that property. And then we put in an offer. There were like, I think 7 other offers, out of which 3 were serious ones, serious buyers. So there is this guy who has an offer more than us. Here we are, and there is a guy whose offer is less than us, but his offer is damn attractive too. So the guy on top bid more than us, maybe 10-15 grand. He had 2 conditions, finance and inspection. Then comes our offer, where we are like, no conditions whatsoever, because once we tour the house, we kind of have a good idea what to look for, and everything's in shape or not. So no offer, 442. And then there is a guy who's bidding less than us, who is like roughly maybe 10-15 grand less than us, maybe 430 or something. This guy is offering 35% deposit. That's like 130 grand. He'll put it in your account in 24 hours.
Wow.
Amidst of all the chaos that's going around with COVID, and these couple are separating.
Wow.
So what struck the chord was, we were going through Matt McKeever's channel of like how to put an offer. You got to do your homework, guys. Like, please do your homework. There's no one who's going to stop you. So this guy is saying like, why would you not write a cover letter? Like, there is no reason not to write a cover letter for any offer that you put tomorrow in. You're trying to get the best job in top 5 companies of the world. Would you not write a cover letter? Definitely, I would. Then why not for the house of your dreams? The first house you're going to buy. Why wouldn't you? So we wrote a fancy cover letter connecting us with the sellers. In a way that we had a picture of us with our mom. She had come to Canada last year, the year before that. So tulip show and all these gardens, and we took nice pictures. So we told her like, this is something we can call our home, and we brothers would love to stay here. Along with that, we told in the letter that we love the delicate touches of Indian essence you have put around in the house, the codes. And so we kind of connected with the person. That's what you got to do. And then we got the house next day. We were like, our realtor was like, bro, the cover letter you've written, I would sell you the house right away. I know, man, I know.
It's a funny story. And the real funny thing about it is, so we bought this in May. And in September, the guy who was willing to put 35% deposit, he just bought a plot behind us. So, and it turned out he's an Indian guy from Madhya Pradesh.
Yeah.
So we became friends there. And then in September August he comes in, and he's like, do you want to sell your property? Are you renters? I'm like, no, we bought the house. he was shocked because we look quite young. So he was like shocked, literally shocked out of his mind. Like, did you literally buy it? I'm like, yes, we are renovating the property right now. And then he goes like, oh, okay. So he thought that we are newbies, which we kind of were. And he's like, if you want to sell, let me know. I'll buy the property. I'm like, we're still renovating and you haven't even seen the house. How can you be like, I'll buy the house? No, I don't want to see this. I had seen it when it went on the market. And I don't even want you to finish your renovation. I'll just give you 530K direct. Let's do a deal. I'm like, okay, let's. If he so badly wants the house, I'm not giving him the house. There's something that's something more than I can see, right?
Yeah.
So that happens, and then in September he comes again, and he's like 550 if you want to sell. Wow. I'm like, now I'm definitely not selling the house. so this is so funny where I just made a good 110 grand.
Wow.
Over the span of 6 months.
Yeah.
By doing nothing. And I emphasize on this so much because on a good year I make 6 figures, but what do I get in hand after taxes? Like 60 grand maybe. I made more than that here in 6 months. It's ridiculous. I don't even understand why people don't buy properties anymore. Like if you have money, just because that's the life of an investor, right? Like you're always cash broke, equity heavy. Like you check our accounts every time like having 2 grand is like, wow, salute. Like you're rich. And then
I totally hear you.
You never have money, you know.
So for this one, I know you mentioned earlier, right? So when you said you didn't have the money, so how did you guys end up financing this one or closing on it?
To be honest, like Ishan had how much in RSP?
I had 12 grand with me. I bought a house for nearly 400,000. So I need 20K, right? So I'm still short 8K. So hey brother, I'll borrow some money from you. So he writes me gift letter. I'm your brother, whatnot. I get the 20 grand, I get the house. Now he has 8K less short with whatever money he has.
And I also have roughly like 12 grand.
And funny story, I paid a wholesale fees because I got the deal off market. That's like 10 grand. So basically his down payment is like over completely, right? So now what we do, thank you to the lines of credit. Pull that in. I write him a gift letter and he goes and buys a house for 442. That's $22,000, $25,000. So I give him the line of credit and now he's trying to get the house with that money. Now we are 25K in debt, like somewhere around that, right? 25 to 20K in debt. Now what's happening is my house is cash flowing around $1,500 to $2,000. It will take me 10 months. Leave that. I have a job. I don't have to worry. I have a job to pay for everything. Like I just got to pay interest, $100, $200, right? This property is appreciating ridiculously, like 100K. Now I am thinking,
look at the return on that.
Sorry,
just calculate the return on that. You're 1,000% or more.
Wow. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Before I hop on to what's next, I would like to give some golden nuggets to our newcomers who are listening to this show. How much do you think we have line of credit before we even started buying our houses? How much? Give us a guess, Ross. Together, how much we would have?
30, 40K?
We had $200,000.
Woo!
Yes, sir. So that's why you got to be with the right people. They guide you.
So you guys went to every single bank. How did talk me through that process? Like, how did you guys manage to get that many line of credit?
The show is called Golden Nuggets, so might as well talk.
No secrets here, boys.
So what happens is whenever you're trying to get a line of credit from a bank, what the bank does is it checks your credit reports and whatnots and everything, right? So the good part over here is once you book an appointment with one bank, go and book an appointment with 2 other banks, 3 other banks, book an appointment with all the banks together and tell them you're going to purchase a house. So you are trying to get some safety. So now they're going to check your credit report and whatnot has been done before that. But right now, when he's giving you a line of credit, he's not going to check whether you are asking TD Bank, Scotia Bank, this bank, that bank, what's going on around the scenes. So you get line of credit from one bank, another bank, and another bank within the same month. If it's not within the same month, leave it. Don't push for it because they would come to know that, oh, you've got line of credit somewhere else. Now, another bad thing that can happen is like a credit check. How much is the credit check going to hamper you when I tell you there's like 20 or 30 or 40 grand extra in your pocket? Like it doesn't matter in the long scheme of things, right? So you hopefully you've built your credit report properly, and a little hit would not cause that much of an issue. And once you buy the house, they don't care about anything.
So pretty much what you're trying to pull off here is when you go to first bank, no problem. You go to NBC first if you fall into the engineering and CPA and all that criteria, because that's like the cheapest debt you can get as like fattest line of credit possible. And then once you hear from them saying like, okay, you're getting an approval, that very week you have to have like an appointment book with the other banks, Scotia, RBC, TD, or whoever you're with. Now, when you go to the second bank, in their report, it hasn't been updated that these guys just gave you like 40 grand. So they are imagining, okay, this guy has no lines of credit. Let's why don't we give him 40 grand?
Right.
And that's how you stack the lines of credit. But you also got to remember, both of us have 6-figure salaries. So we got to 200,000, but
still, like, even if you don't have that much, you will get more than what you deserve based on the strategy. So this is a golden nugget before you get started with. Another golden nugget I would like to say, Kellen posted recently, and he told, like, when you're buying a house for 5%, like you said, if you're getting $500,000 affordability, buy a house for $460,000 maximum. Because there is some golden value, which is $40,000 they give you purchase plus renovations. They give you at the max of 40,000. That's the golden number. So keep that $40,000 buffer in your affordability and buy the house something, so you can just make it look it good, man. Like, do some, like, put pot lights, put nice flooring, paint it, just to increase the jump of the strategical value of the house.
Like you're trying to increase the equity. Where you might not have a lot of equity on the buy, but once you renovate it, you have so much equity. Like
you're forcing appreciation.
Forcing. So even if you're not doing a burr at 20% down, you're doing a poor man's burr at 5% down. Absolutely. Do something, right? So I feel like we're like Robin Hoods, man.
You have to be. Wow, that's awesome. And then, how does it work now? Like, if somebody has, say, a mortgage, right? Let's talk about it existing. So somebody who didn't know about what you guys said about line of credit, would they be able to still qualify and get more like line of credits, or are the banks going to look at and say, you know what, no, this person has 2 mortgages now, and so on and so forth?
So that's why you need to hang with the best of the best.
Before you get started.
Beforehand.
I mean, like Austin had told us this back in the day, that once you hit 5 properties, 6 properties, forget about buying properties. They won't even give you, like, forget even lines of credit. They won't even entertain you to get you a credit card. Like, they won't even give you a credit card. That's where you will be. So you have to do this beforehand. I mean, you can still try to pull it off. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You try and maybe you pass, maybe you fail, but there's no harm in it. I mean, there is so much liability if you have like 1 house, 2 house, that they don't entertain you anymore with unsecured lines of credit, right?
It's just to be safe, basically, at the end of the day.
I mean, anything you get curveballs thrown at you all the time. You could be basically approved for mortgage, and then tomorrow the bank, when they do the appraiser, come back to you and say, you know what, we're not gonna give you the money on this. And then guess what? You have a $200,000, money you got to come out of your pocket to close on that deal. Otherwise, you're going to get potentially sued or lose your deposit. So anything could happen. You're right. Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope you were able to get some great golden nuggets out of it. The kindest thing that you could do is share this podcast across all social media to help as many people as possible. I'll post the links in the show notes for those accounts so you can find me. I love bouncing ideas off people, and I love talking real estate. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Remember, financial freedom is just a couple properties away.